You never know what you're going to meet when you get up in the morning. Yesterday, I had the 8 o'clock Mass, or 8:45 Mass in the morning. And I come back, and there's a note there, and it says, from Father Richard, says, I've been taken to the hospital. And so we call Father Matthew and find out, he'll fill you in on things. Well, anyway, talked to Father Matthew, and he says, Richard wonders if you can have the wedding this afternoon. And, okay, I can do that. See, no matter how long I've been ordained, there's always something new. That's one of the great things about the priesthood. There's never 2 days alike. And that's really great. So I think I had a first yesterday because I had a wedding and I never met the bride and groom until an hour before the wedding. And it went well. I think it went well. They're validly married, I believe, and all that. And so we had to scramble a little bit, and thank God for Father Steve from the retreat house. He came and offered to take a couple of masses and so forth, and so I heard the confessions, and then I said, well, I'll take the 10 o'clock. And so you just have you adjust to life, okay? So I just ask you to keep Father Richard in prayer. He's undergoing some tests, and it doesn't sound like it's anything serious. I don't want people to get out there and start spreading rumors and things like that, but he's still in the hospital. So just keep him in prayer. Because I didn't expect to have this Mass today. and so that's another thing. Sometimes things are meant to be in life. It shows how much control we have and who's really in control. And there's reasons for things, I believe, I really do. Anyway, the first reading today was about the manna in the desert and God feeding the people, and the people were getting upset with Moses and all that. And then in the gospel, it ends up by saying Christ says, I am the bread of life. He who believes in me will live forever. You start thinking about life, and there's a lot of people who don't believe in a life after life. They think we're born, we live, we die, and we cease to exist. A lot of people don't find a meaning in life. There are a lot of people say, well, what's life all about? And it's sad when people get in that frame of mind, because life is very meaningful from our viewpoint as followers of Christ. Some of us were brought up in the Baltimore Catechism years and years ago, and one of the basic questions in the Baltimore Catechism was, why did God make me? And God made me, the answer was, God made me to know, love, and serve him in this world in order to be with him in the next. Very simple, but very profound. There is a meaning to life, and that's God. God created us for himself. And we're not complete, there is a meaning, that there is life after life. God wants us to be with him forever in heaven. We call it heaven. That's God's will. But he gave us a free will. And so the choice is ours. See, God never sent anybody to hell. If we go to hell, we've chosen it because God gave us a free will. And he never interferes with that free will. If he did, he would not be God. See? And that's something sometimes people don't understand. Love will not control. He doesn't control us. He lets us make, as we grow older, he lets us make our own choices in life. And some choices we make are not so good, and God wishes it was otherwise, but if he interfered, he would be controlling us. He lets us make our choices, and ultimately, the ultimate choice is for God, and choosing God, choosing heaven. And the choices we make in life kind of lead up to that. See? So people would say, what's the meaning to life? Ultimately, it's God. See? Now, we might fill our lives with a lot of things. We might, people are hungry. These people in the Old Testament and the people here in the gospel were hungry. And God says, Christ says, I am the bread. Me. You wouldn't, if you're searching out for me and stick with me, you won't be hungry. He's not speaking materially hungry or physically hungry, but spiritually hungry. Because so many people are spiritually hungry right now. They're searching for a meaning. There's something deeper in life. We can fill our lives with a lot of things, as I mentioned. We can take material things. All the commercials tell us we're nobody until we own a Cadillac, for example. That's supposed to give us importance. Well, it doesn't, see? And then power. Power is a big thing. Boy, I'll have power. And power can be misused very easily if we don't keep our heads on straight. And then we search for money. Now, there's nothing wrong with some of these things in themselves. We all need money to live on. But then, to some people, money is power, see? And then we go on with life and we say, the accomplishments we have. Oh, I accomplished this and I did that. Just think of how important I am. Look at all these things I've done. And it still doesn't do it. See, it doesn't fill the deepest need. The only person, actually, who's going to fulfill that deepest need is God. And centuries ago, St. Augustine said, our hearts are restless until they rest in you, O Lord. So there's nothing in this world that's going to fulfill the deepest need in me other than God. We can have all the things that the world has to offer, and we need a lot of these things in life. We need a roof over our head. We need clothes on our back. We need food on the table, the basic need. Beyond that, it's luxury, see? And so if we start thinking, thank God we were given the gift of faith, and Christ gives that meaning to life, that there is something beyond this life that we are living for. And so the choices we make, people say they're searching for happiness. We'll never be happy until we get out of ourselves and think of somebody else and reach out to somebody else. That's the way to happiness. It's not thinking of myself first. I'll never be happy if I'm selfish. Only when I get out. And Christ tried to teach us that. And ultimately, when we do that, we grow closer to God. And then we realize what the real meaning of life is. So we stop thinking about that. Thank God for the gift of faith, and thank God for Christ, and who is the bread of life. May God bless you.